So in this session, there are three things I would like to talk about. First is what is data visualization, and then why do we want data visualization? Third would be the principles of data visualization. Generally, we term visualization as VIZ, right? Then walking through some important visuals. So if you have to derive some concepts, so you would use various visuals such as bar chart, you will use pie chart, donut chart. So there are plethora of visuals. So I'll walk you through and which visual to use when. It is very important, right? And finally, I'll work on Excel practice and Power BI. So this is the agenda of today's session. So what is data visualization? As you can see, this is the definition from the data visualization community. It is a graphical representation of the data and information using elements such as charts, graphs, maps, and diagrams. So as you can see over here, this is my Excel table, right? So if you have data in Excel, so this is how it will show. You would be having various columns, you would be having various rows, right? So row into column, that is defined as a cell, right? So this is my raw data. But now I want some depiction out of it, like visualization. So you can see this is my graphical representation. So if I ask you from this table, what do you understand? What is the data telling you? You might be able to tell me, but you will take some time. But with this graph, you would be easily telling me the average age by department. For example, for back office is 36 years, for IT it is 22 years, for R&D it is 32 years. So this is how powerful visualization is. So it can be in Excel, it can be in Power BI. There are various other BI tools such as Tableau, ClickView, where you can work on these kind of visuals, right? So I'll walk you through all the things today itself. So what is the goal of data visualization? It is to make complex data more accessible, understandable, and actionable to users by presenting it in an intuitive and a compelling format. So this is what we are doing. We have a raw format. We are doing into maybe pie chart or bar chart or even compounded or box chart as well. So it is depending on your requirement, what kind of problem statement you are catering to, and accordingly we will be working on the visualization. So now coming to why do we want data visualization? So these are the four important things that we have to consider when we are doing data visualization. First would be better comprehension. So as I have told you before, if we are working on tables, it is very tough to comprehend something. But if we have some visuals, it is very easy for us to visually understand, because for us, it is very easy to understand the diagrams, graphs, and everything, right? So by presenting data in a clear graphical format, we can quickly identify patterns, trends, and outliers. So for example, in your data set, you have 1000 records, right? Out of 1000, there are 10 records which are outliers. By outliers, we say that the data is not correct, but you won't be able to identify, you might not be able to identify when you're working on the raw data. But when you're doing representation, you will easily understand. For example, in one record, someone is inputting the age as 150, which is highly unlikely, right? So with the graphical representation, it is very easy to understand these kind of things. So second would be improved decision making. So if we are having data set, we are having visuals, we are very happy with the visuals because the decision making becomes easier because we are generating insights out of it, right? Third would be communication, because with data visualization, we are doing data storytelling. Because we have various visuals, what we are doing is we are conveying complex information and insights to others in a clear and concise manner. So it can be to management, it can be in the internal team as well. So communicating becomes a key, because whatever we are having in the data, it should make sense, right? So this is my third point. And finally, rapid identification of patterns. It is very important for us to identify. For example, you want to forecast in every month, my employee churn is, let's say, 10%, 5%, whatever it is. So what will be the churn for the next month, depending on the historical pattern, right? So this is very easy from the visualization, but from data, you won't be able to find that. So this is one of the reason why we are using data visualization. So any question so far, any one of you?
So I have one question, not exactly related to this slide, as you said that we will be looking at click view or tableau. So, sorry, not looking at click view and tableau, but you just use those tools along with Power BI. So are we going to see tableau and click view as well today, apart from Power BI?
Uh, okay, Reena. So today, in today's session, we will be
Mhm.
walking through Excel and Power BI only.
Okay.
Tableau and Click Sense is a different tool, but for me, like it is up to you which tool you want to learn. But you should stick with one tool because anyway, the outcome, the expectation would be same, right? So
Okay.
if we are analyzing the data and we are inputting or integrating that data with Power BI and with Tableau, the output will remain the same, right? Maybe the visualization style and pattern might be different, but outcome will be same. But as of today, if we see the trend,
Mhm.
most of the big companies are using Power BI, right?
Okay.
And if I tell about the benefits, Power BI is number one right now in terms of the metrics, and it is comparatively cheaper as well for Indian market with the data set that we are having. Most of the companies are using Power BI. Even in our organization, I am working at Curate Data Analytics. We provide business analytics to FMCG, CPG companies. We are working purely on Power BI
Okay.
because we know the power of the Power BI. We know how to use that. It is quite easy as well for the people to adopt because most of the people are working on Excel, right?
Mhm.
With Microsoft Excel, it is similar with Excel. Like if I talk about Power BI, it is a product from Microsoft, right? The interface is somewhat similar to Excel, so it is very easy for the user journey perspective.
Okay.
So in that sense, Power BI is better, but it depends on the person to person. And if we go into banking sector, in banking, mostly the teams are using Tableau because Tableau has higher data retention. So both have pros and cons. Power BI as well as Tableau. It depends on you. But in today's session, I will be working on Excel as well as Power BI.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. So coming to the next topic. So in this topic, I will tell you about the principles. So there are basically four principles where I want to reflect. First is clarity. It is very important that your visualization is giving you a clear picture. So if you see over here, this visualization, this is also a visualization, but you might not understand what is actually this visual is telling you because it is very difficult. This is giving me blank and these are just colors, right? I'm not able to understand anything from this. So this is not at all recommended the way it is represented, right? For example, you want to understand number of restaurants in each type, so this is my bar chart. From here you can easily tell me that delivery contributes maximum with 4382, second is dine out, right? So this is how the visualizations should be done, right? It should be easy as well as clear and easy to understand, right? So we don't want to have uncluttered designs. We want simple and unnecessarily, we don't want to go into complex visuals, right? So second is accuracy. So if you are working on data set, this is my data set, right? Now we are working on doing some visualization on it. But if my visualization is very beautiful, but it is not giving me the correct values, then my visualization is of no use. That is not at all used and it will not be useful for anyone, right? So it is very important and imperative for anyone to work on accuracy, right? So if you see these two data set and these two bars, for this I can see there is one difference in R&D. For R&D, my average age here, it is showing 32 years, here it is showing me 39 years. So if I see over here for R&D, these are my 1, 2 and 3 records. What is my average age? That is 34 plus 26, that is 60. 60 plus 35 is 95. 95 divided by 3 for average, that is 31 point something, right? So approximately rounded off, it will be 32, right? So this is my accurate data. This is not accurate. So we have to understand while working on data visualization that we are getting the right values. We have to cross check again and again. Once we are deploying the model, we have to understand if data is accurate or not, right? So coming to the third principle, that is consistency, right? So if you're working on data visualization, you are preparing dashboards. You can see the left hand side. This is not at all consistent. You can see the colors. Here I'm using green, red, purple. Here I'm using yellow and orange. These are so many colors. I'm not able to understand. This is not at all good. And here, if you see, you will automatically understand, wow, this is looking very good, and I am able to understand what this particular dashboard is telling me, right? So it should be consistent with colors. It should be consistent in terms of everything, the data storytelling. For example, you are preparing HR dashboard. So I have three visuals of HR. My fourth visual is for finance. That won't make sense, right? So it should be consistent in terms of color, font, in terms of functionality as well. And finally, it is simplicity. So if we talk about visualization, it should be simple for the end user to understand. For example, you are preparing the dashboard. If you're showing that dashboard to someone who doesn't know Power BI or Tableau or Excel or anything, but he wants to understand what the data or numbers are telling me, it should be simple to read. It should be very easy to understand for any layman person. He or she should not need to learn Power BI to understand the outcome, right? So for example, here if you see, these are the names so long, and you're not able to understand what this is going to tell me, right? Over here you are seeing, these are my data cards, this is my donut chart, this is my another chart, and then I can see this is also a table. So it is very easy to understand what this dashboard is telling me, right? So it is very important for the flow, the kind of visuals you're using, and where you're using those visuals, right? Now, this is the last section before we work on practical aspects of Excel and Power BI. So understanding the visuals, I have various visuals. I will be talking about 12 visuals, which are really important. If you're working on dashboards, these visuals will be used for sure. First is line chart. Generally, these are used to represent a series of data points connected by a straight line. So if you see, this is my line chart, right? So this is showing me month wise what is my sales. Orange line is showing me sales. For January, the sales is 100, right? Then February, it is somewhere around 120. So this is how you can see the pattern, month wise sales. Yellow line is showing me the expenses. So this is my line chart, right? So this is two line chart for me. This is donut chart, right? So there are two types of circular charts. One is donut chart and another one is pie chart. So you must have heard about pie chart. Majorly, we are using pie chart. This is used generally to understand the market share. For example, you have 5 categories in your company. You want to understand what is the contribution of each category, right? So you can tell me that 20% is contributed by X category, 25 is contributed by Y category, and rest is contributed by Z category. So you can understand this, plus market share also. So it depends on the requirement. As you can see, each portion of a pie chart represent the percentages, right? So overall, it will be 100%. So 360-degree, if we talk about, it is 100%, right? So in 100%, what is the portion? This might be 30%. This might be 20%. So overall, this circle should give me 100%, right? Similarly with donut chart, but there is a difference. So why donut chart? This is similar in looking, like if you see donut, it looks like that, right? It shows the whole data into proposition, similar to pie chart, right? But what is the difference between pie chart and donut? In donut, you will see there is a gap here. So here you can give the percentages as well. So if you want to showcase the contribution apart from the, for example, here Power BI is 36%, Tableau 28%, Sense is 11%, others is 33%. So this can be the contribution. Apart from that, you want to show one more parameter. You can show it over here. So a donut chart can help you to understand two things simultaneously. So if we go to the next visual, that is metrics chart. So it is similar to table, right? Here you can see this is matrix because you can expand each and every row to go to the next level as well, right? So it shows the relation between the two or more variables in a data set. It is mainly made up of columns as well as rows to represent the data in the grid format. You will see this is my grid format, and this is similar to Excel where I'm getting rows as well as columns. But here I can expand the rows and I can fetch more levels, right? So this is my slicer chart. This is predominantly used to filter out any particular data. For example, you have created a dashboard, right? Now you want to see the data related to, let's say, Gujarat only. So what you will do is in the state slicer, you will just select Gujarat over here, and the data will be changed or reflected only for Gujarat. So currently I'm seeing for Pan India. Now if I filter Gujarat, I'll see the data for Gujarat only. So this is the only purpose of slicer chart, right? And this is my regional chart, regional map, we say this. So here you can see state wise or district wise or country wise how much contribution which particular geography is giving me. So you can make different colors, or you can create other visuals as well to understand how much contribution it is coming from which place. Any questions? All right. So I feel this is clear till now. So I'll just continue. Right. So if we go to the next visual, this is bar chart. So you can see I can have country wise the population as well as GDP. So yellow color is giving me population. This color is giving me GDP, orange color. So India contribution for population as well as GDP, I can see. I can add the data labels as well so as to get the numbers, right? So USA, I can see UK, Canada. So bar charts are generally used to plot the numeric values for the categorical features. So if you see here, it plots numeric values for levels of a categorical feature as bars. Levels are plotted on one chart axis and values are plotted on another axis. So it is similar to X and Y axis, right? So if we have X and Y axis, uh, Y axis is giving me countries. So if India is giving me, let's say 100 population, so this is 100 over here, right? So X axis will give me numeric, Y will be categorical, right? So this is how we will prepare the bar charts. I will show you how to prepare this chart in Excel as well as Power BI. Now coming to combo chart, this is similar to the stack chart, but we have two bars together, two columns we can say. So if you see, this is my horizontal line, horizontal bar, right? If we are having vertical, this is called column, right? So if we are having this, this is column, and this horizontal is called bar, right? If this was a single bar, a single column, it would have been called a column chart. Right now it is combo chart because we are having two columns, right? And finally area charts, it is similar to line chart. So if you see, this is my line, right? But this will show me the volume inside the area. So this is why we are calling this as area chart. So if you want to understand the magnitude of the change over the time, then you can use the area charts as well, right? And finally, last three visuals are scatter plots. These are used to plot data points on horizontal as well as vertical axis in the attempt to show how much one variable is affected by another, right? Each row in the data label is represented by the marker whose position depends on its value in the column set on the X and Y axis. So you can see relationship between two variables is called correlation. We should have a relationship between the two variables. This is how we can plot the dots. So this is my funnel chart, but this is very it's not used quite often. You can say out of 10 dashboards, you might use this in one dashboard because this is something which generally people don't prefer. But the funnel chart is a type of chart which is used to visualize the data that flows from one phase to another phase, right? The whole data is considered as 100%. So data that we are having, that is 100%, and each phase it is represented as numerical proposition of the data, right? So total is 100%. I can see this is my awareness. Out of 100%, let's say 80% is consideration, right? I can see this. So this is phase one, then phase two. Then phase three is of purchase. So out of 80%, let's say 60% were the purchases. Then after purchase, there was 40% of retention. And finally, 20% was advocacy. So you can see phase by phase how the data is flowing. You can use funnel chart for this. And lastly, I'll talk about the God charts. This is generally used to understand the targets versus achievement. For example, the target is this value 365K, right? And here this red bar, it is showing 181. So achievement is 181 till now out of 365. For this, we will use God chart. It is also known as speedometer or a dial chart, but generally we will say God chart, right? So this is it about the theoretical visuals and everything. If you have questions, please let me know. All right.
Yeah, how do we know about the application of these charts?
Very good question, Shiv. So the application is something that you will come to understand after practice. So for example, I'll walk you through one exercise. You will see how we are preparing the charts. You will automatically understand, yes, for this particular problem, I have to use this chart. I'll show you everything.
Okay, fine, thank you.
Great. So lastly, I will just give you overview of HR analytics. I'm sure you are from HR, so you must be aware of all these points. I just want to emphasize on this because we have to use a data set from HR, right? So HR analytics, it is also known as people analytics. It is use of data and analytics to understand and improve various aspects of human resources management. Right. So what are the things that we can do with HR analytics? First is recruitment and retention, right? We can understand, identify the most effective recruitment channels and methods. Second is performance management. If you want to track the analysis, track the performance of your employees, identify the areas of improvements, you can use this. Then employee engagement. So you can do various activities. You can conduct a survey. You can do social media sentiment analysis to understand and engage with the employees. Then diversity and inclusion. Then fifth point is learning and development, L&D. And finally, compensation and benefits. So if you want to analyze the compensation and benefits, what you've done month on month, year on year, how it is going up or going down, what are the salary benchmarks? Are you paying equally to male and female? What is the effectiveness of various programs that you are conducting for the employees and for compensation aspects? So you can do all these kind of analytics, right? And lastly, the 7 commonly used KPIs in HR. So I was just going through an article from Harvard. These are the 7 commonly used KPIs. Let me know if I'm wrong. So first one is employee turnover rate, right? So this means the rate at which employees are leaving the organization. High turnover rates can indicate problems with employee engagement, leadership, or organizational culture, right? Second is time to fill. This measures the amount of time it takes to fill open positions within the organization. Long time to fill rates can indicate problems with recruitment strategies or a tight job market. Third KPI is employee engagement score. This measures the level of engagement and satisfaction among employees using surveys or other feedback mechanisms, right? Fourth KPI is diversity and inclusions metrics. This can include tracking the representation of different groups within the organization as well as the effectiveness of diversity and inclusion initiatives. Then fifth KPI is training and development metrics. For this, we can include the tracking of completion rates and effectiveness of training programs, as well as development and retention of key skills within the organization. My sixth point would be performance metrics. So if you want to track the employees' performance metrics, you can use goal attainment, productivity metrics as well. And lastly, compensation metrics. So in this, we include the tracking metrics related to employee compensation, such as salary benchmark, pay equity, and effectiveness. Right. So these are the commonly used KPIs we can further drill down to have a specific KPI for this. All right, so this is the end of the theory. Then we can start practicing. But before that, if you have any questions or if you have any suggestions for the Excel, let me know.
So the example of for the matrices, what you have briefed us, are we going to prepare dashboard report on those matrices right now?
So
Or
Reena,
how's it?
for that, I have to further drill down for HR analysis. To be honest, I have not done that, but I would be explaining you how to prepare so that once you have the data set of your own, you can do it yourself as well.
Okay.
Right. So in between, while we are preparing, you can mention that, can you please try to create this KPI? Then I can do it on the spot.
Sure.
Right. So before going ahead with Excel exercise, I just wanted to tell you about pivot tables, because this is the very important concept. As you guys are using Excel, pivot table is very important if we are preparing any dashboard in Excel, if we are doing any kind of concept related to pivot. So what is pivot table? It is essentially a summary table that enables you to slice and dice your data in various ways. You can use pivot tables to group data by categories to create custom calculations such as averages, sums, and percentages. So as I told you, we had a data set, right? We have various columns. So you won't be able to do any analysis on that data set. You have to change it to pivot table, right? This is how the pivot table page looks like. Now you have to, these are my pivot table fields. So you have to drag these into these areas so that we can create some pivot tables. And after preparing the pivot tables, we will create the pivot charts. And finally, we will be conducting and preparing the dashboard. So this is how the process will look like. All right. So I'll just go to the Excel. Second. You can see the screen, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
great. So these are some of the questions which I was thinking of giving the answers. So for example, these are the 6 questions. What is my month-wise total salary and expenses? Which month has witnessed the highest salary? For example, this is one of the question. Second question is, what is the department-wise
Can't see the
expenses?
slide.
Yeah.
Come
So
again?
we can see that old PPT.
Old one. We
Yeah.
can't see the question.
The
Okay.
next slide is not shown, is visible.
Okay, 1 second. I hope this is visible now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great.
yes.
So first of all, I'll just show you this data that we are going to work on, right? So these are the columns, various columns. You can see first column is employee ID. So in each data set, you have to keep this in mind. You should have a unique key. So for this data set, employee ID will be my primary key. So primary key is the key that is uniquely identified for any particular row. If you say employee ID, it can't be same for 2 employees, right? So employee ID will be called as primary key. If you have to do any kind of calculation, you will use employee ID for that. For example, if I use first name for the calculations, for example, Bernard, if I can see this name, this can be multiple. You can have multiple Bernard in the data set, but you won't be having multiple employee ID as 158108, right? So any calculation, if for example, you have to count total number of employees, so you will count employee IDs instead of first name, right? So this is one of the most important basic concept if we are working on any data set, right? So let me just explain you this data set. I have employee ID, then name prefix, first name of the employee, last name, what is the gender, which department he or she is catering to, what is the email ID, father's name, mother's name. Then I have date of birth, age in years, what is the weight, date of joining, quarter of joining, half of joining. So there are various columns here, right? You can have last percentage hikes, salary, bonus, expenses. right? So I have everything. I know the location as well, from where the employee is, place name, county, city, state, and region, right? So I have mostly all these things, right? So what is the objective of this exercise? So ultimately, while you're preparing in the dashboard, you should have objective in mind. What is that you're going to get from the dashboard, right? So you should have something in mind. For example, in this exercise, I'm saying these are my 6 objectives, right? So I want to answer, what is my month-wise total salary? What is my total expense? Which month witnessed the highest salary, right? So this is one of the question that we can ask, we can solve. Then what is the department-wise expenses? Which department incurred the highest expenses, right? What is my total month-wise employees, male and female? State-wise total employees in the organization? What is month-wise joining count of the employees? And what is the average salary by age group, right? So these are some of the questions we can address. And if you have something else in mind related to data, we can do that as well. So everyone is ready?
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
Yes,
So what is the process? So while we are working on Excel dashboard, so we have to work on various steps. So step number 1 would be data import. So once we know the data source, we should know where our data is relying, right? Once we know that, we will import that data into Excel, right? One step is completed once we have the data in our Excel, right? Second step would be data cleaning. So once we have the data, we need to clean certain column. We have to understand, check column by column if there is any outlier, if there is any particular issue or challenge with any particular column, if data type is correct or not, right? So and so forth. And then we will do data processing. In data processing, we generally add or create more columns that will help us in doing analysis in the dashboard. So it is more like creating some groupings or creating new columns. And finally, data analysis. This is like using pivot tables and pivot charts to create a dashboard, right? So we already have done this data import. So you have this data in the Excel, right? So second step would be data cleaning, right? For this, we have to check column by column. So if I have to filter out, I will use the key Control Shift and L, right? So I can see this filter. If you scroll down, mostly you can see all the employee name numbers are looking fine, right? So there is no outlier. For example, let's say the employee number here was, let's say, HR, right? This was maybe mistyped or something. So if you go here, if you scroll here and search, you will find HR is not the right number. Like it is not a data type that we are expecting. Because if we see this column, here it is general, but it should be a number, right? So we can maybe, if this row is not required, we can delete that. Or if it is required, then we will understand what is the employee number of this, and then we will change HR with that employee number, right? So this is how you have to clean the columns. So this is not required for us. This is also fine. So you just need to check, for example, if there is any miss typing, for example, in any name, there is number or something, right? Many a case, there is a case when in gender, male or female, somewhere it is written M and F as well, apart from male and female. Then you have to change that. For example, let's say I just change this to male, right? So we have these as male, right? So if you expand the gender, you will see female, M, and male. Now, if you get this kind of data, what you have to do is you have to select M and replace everything by, or you can use, 1 second, you can replace, or you can do simple male and copy, drag for all other cells, right? So this is how you will clean the data, right? So it depends on the data set, how the data set is there, but this data set is fairly clean. So we don't have to dig much inside the data cleaning process, right? So if we go ahead, we have date of birth as well. We have ages in year, right? So what if I have to check the age in years? We have to, if we have to calculate it our own, let me just add one more column. So now we are on the step data processing. Here we are creating some groups, we are creating new columns and everything, right? So this is data processing step, right? So if I have to calculate age in years, so this age in years is not correct because this is old data, right? So this is not updating. So you can see from 1961 date of birth, age 55 is not right. Today we are in year 2023, right? So if we have to get the right age, so for that we have to subtract this with today's date. So if there is one function in Excel, today will give me the today's date. So if I subtract today with this date, I'll get the years, right? So if I go to today minus this, right? And my output should be integer, right? So I will use int is a function for this, right? Integer. Now I can divide this by 365.25. So 365 is like days in a year. 0.25 I am adding just to include the leap years as well, right? So if I do this and press enter,
Sometimes we find date of birth having slashes, dashes, and dots. So
right?
how to make them into one?
So first of all, a very good question. I'll right click on the column. I'll select this column, date of birth. I'll do it right click. I'll go to format cells. Right now, I have to see this is my date. Select this date, and now you have to see which type you have to filter. For example, you want date, then month and year. It should be with slashes, right? So you can select this and press OK. So everything will be changed to this particular format. For example, you want to change it to 14 March. You want month to be shown, right? So you can do that. Or there is one more way. You go to custom and you type in yourself. For example, there are various other ways, like you want this format DDMMYYYY. So DDMM will give you month as 0410. MMM will give you complete month name like JAN, January, FEB, February. So that is how you can do, right? So this is very powerful. For example, if you are if you have to change any format, just right click, go to format cells, right? This pop-up of format cells will be there. Now you have to select any category. Here we have date, so click on date and select any particular type, and once you're done you can click OK. I hope I answered your question.
Right.
Okay, great. So here, as you must have seen, I added one more step. So I selected number from here. It was in general, so it was showing me the date. As soon as I clicked on number, this is giving me the age, right? So if I have to just drag it, I'll just double click. I'll get the age for all of them, right? So this is my age. Let's say I am just naming this column name as age latest, right? Because this age is not updated, or you can delete also just to make it clear, and you can keep this as age. So it is totally up to you, right? I will keep this as in years. So now we have age, right? So next thing is, if you have to do any analysis on age, so you can't do analysis on this age column because there are so many numbers. So you won't be able to get the analysis done right on the dashboard because there are so many thousands of numbers, right? Because in 65 also there is 65.61, 65.62. So there are so many numbers. So what we can do is we can do groupings as in, like we can have age group of 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 60, 50, 50 to 60, and 60 plus, for example. So it depends on your requirement. So if you can do groupings and do analysis on those groupings, that will really help and get you more general insights out of the dashboard, right? So how to group that? Anyone knows how to do the grouping on this? All right, so what I'll do is I'll just add a column, Control Shift and plus, right? I have added a column. Let me just add towards the right. Let me just delete this. All right, so age groups is my column name. I will use if loop, right? So I will use if my age is less than equal to 30. So whenever my age is less than equal to 30, right, then it should be 0 to 30 years, right? Else, if, so this is a little tricky if you have never worked on if else. So this is little tricky. I'll explain you even further if you are not getting this. So this is like nested if. We are using if function, then this is my output. If this is not true. So what if is like you have to give one logic. So I'll just remove this again. So you can see this is logic test. So if this value, I'm selecting this cell, this value is less than equal to 30. जब भी हमारी वैल्यू 30 या 30 से कम होगी, if this is true, comma, value if true, जब ये सही होगा, then we have to mention 0 to 30 years, comma, if this is not true, then definitely my age year is more than 30, right? Then value is false. Now again I have to use if this value is less than equal to 40, right? Now it should be between 30 to 40 years, right? Again, I'll use else. If it is not less than equal to 40, that means it is greater than 40, right? That means if this value is less than equal to 50, right? My value would be 40 to 50 years, right? Else it is greater than 50. Let's say we are just preparing 0 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50, and greater than 50. Now I'll just close all the columns or brackets. 1, 2, and 3, and press enter. Right. So you can see this age 61.66. It is greater than 50. That is why it is showing me greater than 50. I'll just drag this for all other cells. You will see this is giving me 30 to 40 years. 47 is coming under 40 to 50 years. 57 is coming in greater than 50 years. Right. So this is how you can make the groupings. So any question on this? I can explain you this again if you want.
So I have question. So this groupings can be done only with the numbers. So say for example, if I am creating a data of multiple countries, right? For a number of countries, 16, 17 countries, and all the countries are having different department. But
Okay.
at the end of data, say for example, if somebody is having finance department, one country is having finance department, other country called as a accounts department, right? And if I have to make this kind of data, so those groupings can be done between the department names also, or only with the numbers?
It can be done. So can you give me any 4 to 5 names? Like I can do it right now so that it is clear.
Okay, so say for example, let's take an example of HR. HR in most of the countries, they have different department, like payroll department.
Yeah, can you just mention that 2 or 3?
2, yeah, payroll, then
Talent acquisition. Yeah.
and compensation and benefit,
Learning and development.
Correct.
That's it.
Okay, and but
Now
all
we have
comes under
these 4 departments, right?
Yeah, correct.
So what is the expectation?
So payroll also comes under HR, then talent acquisition also comes under HR, compensation also comes under HR, L&D also comes under HR. Right. Now say for example, if I am preparing a report and all the countries are having different department names, but ultimately they have common department name. So how to make a group of this department?
See, I'm not getting you exactly what exactly we have to do from this, because
so grouping of department, the way you did
I can help. Pratika.
Yeah, Prashant.
Okay.
I think I can understand what Snehal Lata is saying. And sorry, Rina is saying. we can basically now let's add few more departments.
Yes.
Say EP, accounts, and write finance on the right side, right row. Yeah. So similarly, now say write HRBP, and then write HR. You want to add you want to write IT. Okay. Am I right, Reena? Am I getting you?
Yeah, correct.
So what should be the outcome? If you can tell me the outcome.
So she wants to
So say,
know
yeah. So say for
which
example,
function.
yeah.
So she wants to say that if the department name is payroll, then it should throw up as the function as HR.
Correct.
If
Yeah.
the department role is accounts, then it's so basically if then else formula has to be used.
Mhm.
Okay,
If
so
it is payroll,
you want
then
me to pop
HR,
up
else
this
accounts,
values
else
according to
finance.
department.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, it can be done. See, if else is not bound to numbers only, so we can use number range. For example, we have to replicate this with if else, right? So if we use if this number is payroll, let's say
Payroll, decision,
payroll,
compensation.
or this number is equal to decision, right? Or this number
Compensation, select
is
all.
equal to
L&D.
compensation, right? Or this number is equal to L&D, right? So whenever any one of them is true, then I want HR, right?
HR. Yes.
Yeah.
Let's say,
Else.
okay, else if this
Accounts, then finance.
is equal
I mean,
to
the formula will be longer. Otherwise, we can end
accounts.
here also.
Yeah. Is this, then let's say we want finance.
Finance.
Yeah, let's stop here. Enter.
1 second. Okay, I think, oh yeah. So this function for OR, we use this in Power BI. So instead of that, I use OR function like this. Or logical one is this, comma,
Yes.
like this.
I was wondering about those parallel lines. I never saw it in Excel.
Yeah. So majorly I am working on Power BI, and in Power BI,
I
slightly
understand that. Yeah, it happens.
Yeah. Something formula is missing in opening or closing parenthesis. Okay.
So basically, if an
I have
OR
to close
should not be
this.
used, just remove the OR, it will work.
This is closed HR if this is this and this. Yeah. So now if I drag this, so I have not created anything for this. That's why it's false. Otherwise, I'm getting HR for all these four. I'm getting finance for accounts.
Perfect. Thanks.
Right.
Thank
so
you
this
so
is what
much,
you
yeah.
wanted, right?
Yeah.
So
Correct.
in general, this is very powerful. So this is what we call nested if, because we are having if under if, right? If we are using simple if this is true, then this, otherwise this, that is simple if statement. This is my nested if, right?
Okay.
And this is powerful, and you can use this in numbers, or you can use this in fields as well.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Just to be careful when you use it in alphabets, then all should be consistent. Like the spelling should not be different for payroll.
Yeah.
Multiple
Yes.
times in the sheet.
Definitely, that is why it will come like this. If I make it just one L payroll, then it
also
won't
it
give
will be
me.
true here because one L.
For it won't be.
Okay.
Right. So we have to
Okay.
be very sure of all the number names, exact
Yeah.
spelling and all.
Sure.
Right?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Can I delete this sheet?
Yes.
Or
please.
I can, okay.
Yes.
All right. So coming back to the data set, right? So we were creating the age groups, right? So using the if else, I bifurcated all the ages under age groups. So I'll show you one more way of creating the groups, that is in pivot, right? So in that case, you don't need to use if else also. but it is good to know how to use if else statement. Right, so can we go to pivot, creating the pivots? All right, so I'll select the table, go to insert tab, right? On insert tab, there is pivot table option. You just need to click on pivot table. It will ask you, you have to have this pivot table placed in the new worksheet or in the existing worksheet. So in existing, that means HR underscore dummy data, this worksheet, but I want a new worksheet. So I'll just select new worksheet and click OK. Right. So now this is my pivot table page. Here I can use all the fields to create any kind of pivot table and charts. Right. So for example, let's go to our objective. First question, what is the month wise total salary? So for example, I have to get the salary month wise. Right. So here you can select, you can search any particular column if you already know, right? For example, month of joining. For example, I have to select this, right? Let me just go back to the data. I just need to see which month we have to take. This is my date of joining. The objective is month-wise total salary, right? So, yeah, so we can use this also. So just for understanding, we will use month name of joining, right? So instead of this, I'll just remove this. I'll take month name of joining in rows, right? So I'm getting January till December, right? Now I'll take salary. This is my salary. So all the numeric values, like if you want sum, count, whatever you want, that will go into values, right? So there are 4 areas you can see: filters, columns, rows, and values. Rows is like whatever you want the aggregation on, right? Values are something like, for example, you want to get the sales, salary, expenses, you will get over here, right? And in column, if you want to see this month wise, gender wise, for example, if I have to see gender wise what is my salary, I'll just drag this on the column. So you will see female and male both, right, bifurcated. So this is how you can use this. And now if you want to filter out for particular department, let's say I'll filter department. Let's say I just want to see for HR. I'll just click HR. All the data now it is showing for HR, right? So this is pivot table. All right, so right now I just don't need the filter right now, so I'll just remove, right? I don't want male and female gender right now. So this is my month wise salary. Let me just add expenses as well. Let me see how it will come. Now you can see my sum of salary, sum of expenses, right? So now if you want to see the chart, like if you want to create a chart from this, so what you have to do is go to pivot table analyze, right? Over here on the ribbon, you will get pivot table analyze, and there is one option pivot chart. So this will show insert a pivot chart tied to the data in this pivot table, right? Once I click here, now you can use any chart. So we discussed about column chart, line chart, pie chart, bar chart, area chart. So this will show me how it will look like, right? So let's say I want a bar chart for this, like this. It is a bar chart. You can use any bar chart over here, right? Let me just take clustered bar and click OK. Right, so this is how I am getting month-wise January to December. Now, if you want to change the sorting also, you can change it from here, right? So here you can see this is from January to December, top to bottom. Now, if you want data labels also, you want to see the numbers over here, you just click here plus sign. This is my data label, right? Click here. You will have both the data labels, but let's say you just want salary data labels. So what I can do is click any one expense and click delete. So all the expenses data label will be deleted. I'm getting only these values, salary values. And on backend side, just to have a clear picture, I'll just remove the grids. So I'll unselect this, right? Let me just remove this also, remove field. Okay, no, I can't remove like this. So going back, and I'll select this. I'll remove or hide all these buttons from the chart, right? Also, now if you want to change the values in any particular format, let's say this is my value 367 49 crores 62 lakhs 56,598. Let's say these are bigger numbers. I want to change it to millions, right? So how can you do that? So for that, I'll just click here. Yeah. So if you double click on the data label on the number, right, and click here number, in this format code, you have to make it, let's say 0.0 comma, and then in millions. So you have to mention M in double quotes. By M, the computer will understand that you want to convert it into millions, right? So 0.0 means I want to keep one decimal, then comma, and in double quotes, I will use capital M and press add. Okay, so this is changed for only one value, 679, 1 second. Okay, going to number again. In format code 0.0 comma add. Okay, I need to change it to 1 second. Sometimes this can be tricky.
It has been done for all now.
No, it has been done, but values are not changed, right?
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
I can see 36. So million won't be right way. Like I can see 6 digits right now. So let me just change it back to the values it was for the time being. Okay. Okay, yeah, I need to have double commas for that. Yeah. So by mistake, I just had one comma. So for millions, so if you have to convert any number into million, right? So you will use 0.0 or 00. So right now I can have one decimal, right? So you can see 0.3, 0.5, 0.6. If you want two decimals, so you will write 0.00 and you will have two decimals. If I click add, you will see two decimal points are there. Right, I'll just keep one to be on a, like, to keep it clean, and this is how you can format your values, right? So now we have prepared this chart. So this is January till December, what is my salary and expenses, right? You just need to Control C, copy this chart and go to another tab, and let's say paste it over here, right? So now I have one chart ready with me, right? I'll just make this sheet as dashboard, and this is my month salary, right? Because there will be so many tabs. Just to understand and keep a track of it, I'll just name all of them, right? Now let me just write HR dashboard for practice. Let's say I'll do this till R column.
I have a question. I
Yes,
was
please.
trying to do this as you were doing. I started with the pivot table. For some reason, my values column, values section is disabled. I'm not able to add any values. I just added the rows and done.
So what you did was you selected this complete table
Yes, I did.
and go to insert, and then you clicked
Yeah.
on pivot table, right?
Yes. Yes.
So you came to this page.
Right.
So then you try to drag month name of joining over here. So this is coming, but
Yeah.
you're saying this value is not coming.
Yes, the value section, I cannot input anything there. It's disabled.
How is this possible? This is
Should I
something
share
I
my
have not.
screen?
Yeah, that is fine if you can.
Possibly. I mean, it's a small thing, and
No, I understand. If you can, I can check and let you know.
just a moment. Here you go. Share. So look at this. I selected the entire data and I did an insert pivot on a new sheet, new working sheet. But when I go to values, I'm not able to
So can
select.
you just select any particular, go to search and select salary?
Acha. Okay, okay.
I'm not able to understand if it is disabled or not.
Salary.
Salary or some anything.
Uh-huh. Huh.
Now,
Oh, okay. Okay. Got it. Got it.
drag this in value.
Click on the check.
So one more thing. So as you can see, there is a blank on your 16th row, right? Hello.
Okay. Okay.
So the best approach is go back to HR_dummy data
Mm-hmm.
and try to select the complete table from A1 cell. Not like this. Try
Acha.
to select the yeah,
Got it.
from inside. Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
just
Because many of you might be getting the blank, so I just want to tell you why it is coming.
control shift down. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And control shift down. Yeah, complete. Now go to insert.
Sort table sheet.
Click
Yes.
insert. Don't do pivot. I think there is a lag.
I'll click on a new sheet, nothing else.
No, don't click here.
Acha, go back to the
click
old
cancel.
sheet, is it? Okay.
No, be on the same table. Just click cancel on this pivot.
Cancel. Okay.
Yeah, go. Yeah, and click on table on above. Like if you can see on the ribbon, there is a table option. Yeah, click table. Yeah, and yes, my table has headers. Click OK.
Mm-hmm. You converted it into a table.
Yes. So what this will give me, and now you can change the name of this table also. Table 1 to, let's say you want to change it to HR table or something, whatever. So what this will do is, now if you click on insert and pivot table, you won't get the blanks. And this is the like good practice to do.
We can simply go and update the pivot table also. No need to create a new one.
Yeah, you can do that. I'm just
Just go on the
explaining.
pivot table, sheet 1, Nikita.
Yeah. Sheet 1. Okay. So how do I do? Something's wrong. Some underscore or something is showing up.
No, just go on the pivot.
Okay.
Yeah, now you can refresh or update. You find that option.
How do I do that?
The
Go
blanks
to
will
data.
go. Data. Yeah.
Data. Okay. Refresh.
Yeah, refresh all. Click on refresh. But now you have to change. But this is not related to that new table, right? So this won't help.
I think the
But
area
anyway,
here needs to change.
so
I got it.
Nikita, what I want to tell you is, so to avoid this blank, it is best to convert your data set into a table and then import that table for a pivot table.
All right.
Right?
All right.
So I'll just share my screen again.
Yeah.
All right. So everyone is with me till now. Like we have created one chart.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Great. So
I have a doubt, sir.
Yes, Santoshji.
How the values that are in crores, how did you convert it into millions, sir?
Okay, I'll do it this once again. So the best way is, once I have this these numbers, let's say I want to convert the expense values, right? So I'll
Yes.
just double click this, right? When I double clicked here, so I will get this popped up format data label. So again, I'll just click back and click all the data labels, right? So I have selected values, go
Okay.
to number. So we have two options. In this label options, I have label options, I have number. So you have to go to number, right? In format code, instead of general, here you have to mention 0.0, comma, comma, and then in double quotes, you have to mention million, M,
Okay.
right? And click add. When you do this, all the values will be changed to million,
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
right? So, all right. So in this dashboard, I already have one data chart, right? So from first question, I can see month-wise total salary and expense and which month witnessed the highest salary. You can see from here which month has highest salary. You can easily say July month with 556, right? So if we had to do it from here, it would have been tough. Now, going to second question, what is the department-wise expenses? Which department incurred the highest expenses? So now I have to get the department-wise expenses. So what I can do is I'll go back to the table, right? Click on insert pivot table, right? I'll select department. I don't have department here. Okay, I'll just delete this chart because I selected the wrong data. Yeah, from here, go to insert pivot table and click OK. Right now, I have to select department in the rows. Right, I want department wise expenses. So all I need to do is same exercise the way it was done for previous chart. Now I have department wise expenses. Go to pivot chart. I can have bar chart for this. This looks good. Let's take this one. Right now, we have to sort this. If we have to sort this on the basis of the expenses, what you can do is go to this option, more sort options, click on, let's say, descending on the basis of sum of expense, right? Click OK. So now this has been sorted. Now, if you want to sort this from higher to lower, then you can do the vice versa part, right? So I'll just go back to more sort options, go to ascending sum of expenses and click OK, right? So now I have expenses for each and every department. I'll again add the data labels. I will again change them. Comma separator is fine. So now in numbers, going to format underscore code 0.0, comma, space, million, and press add. You can change the name of the chart. This is department wise expenses. Right, so I have another chart with me, department wise expenses. If I control C over here and go back to dashboard and let's say paste it over here, right? So I already have two charts with me. You can make changes whatever you want to do, right? So this is, let's say, department expenses. So everyone is with me till now? Any questions?
This time I have a different challenge.
Yeah.
So I selected the table range, but I'm
Okay.
not able to add a new sheet.
Can you please repeat?
Can I share my screen?
Yes.
I'll just share my screen and I'll show you what the issue is. So this is my table, right? And shift. Oh, hang on. Should be at 8. Here. Selected the table. Oh, hang on. Insert pivot table from table range.
You can directly click on the top here. Yeah.
Acha.
And click
While
OK.
creating the table, I can click the entire area here.
Yeah. When you select the complete table, click on pivot table.
Yes.
Yeah.
From table range.
Yeah.
All
Click
right.
OK.
I'm going to this. This is not happening.
You're not able to click OK.
If I just without selecting the area. Okay. All right. I think the issue is I've been using Pivot on Google Sheets, so it's a bit different, and that's
Okay.
causing
Yes,
the problem.
you're right. No issues.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. So I'll just share back again. So anyone else who is having any doubt? Okay. So let's go to other objectives. So what is my month-wise employees, male as well as female? So now going back to my data, click on insert, pivot table. And I'll show you how, when I will work on Power BI, I'll show you how Power BI is so powerful as compared to Excel. So here we have to, what was the question? Gender-wise, month-wise. Right, so we have month-wise, gender. We can have gender in both column as well as rows. If so, for example, if we add this in rows, you will have month-wise both the male and female genders, right? And now if I want to add salary, let's say, so you will have the salaries for both in each month. But I want this, let's say, in the column. So I will have this, right? So what is the total month-wise employees? So I want the count of employees, right? So what I'll do is, instead of salary, I will use employee ID. Select employee ID, right? And remove the salary. Now here you will see this is the count. This is the sum of all the employee IDs, which is absolutely wrong. We should never do the sum of employee ID. That is not at all, accurate. So what I'll do is go to click here and go to value field settings, right? So now summarize value field by count. So currently default it is sum, but we have to do count of all the employee IDs, right? So you will select count and press OK. Right, so month-wise you can see the count of female as well as male, right? And I have the grand total. But now let's say if you want to remove the grand total, what will you do is go to ribbon. I think it is design, go to grand total. If you click here off for rows and columns, so the grand totals will be invisible. If I click here, so the totals are gone, right? Because when we are analyzing, we have to prepare the charts. That is not required, right? Going back to pivot table analyze, go to pivot chart. Let's see which is the best possible way to address this problem. There is one bar chart, then we have area, XY. Any suggestion from any one of them, any one of you?
Column chart.
Right. So we will go to column chart. So for this kind of data, there are only two options, column or bar chart. So as you're talking about the column chart, we will take column. Right. So now again, I need to add the data labels. If you want, you can see how my number of employees are increasing or decreasing month on month. So this is a true representation of month on month. And we can have pie chart as well for that. Let me just add this for the time being. Right. So this is, so it totally depends on you how you would like to make it more visually appealing. Let me just take off the grid lines to make a more of a dashboard. So let me just select this data. Let me just change the color of this to make it more popping. Let's do this. Yeah. Right. So now I have 3 charts with me. Right, so we have 3 charts. Similarly, you can add multiple charts and you can work on them. So 1 second, I'll just remove them again. So there is one more important thing over here. We need to add slicers. For example, if you want to filter out data for a particular scenario, how will you do that? So any suggestions, any idea like how we can add the filter, the slicers? Okay, so if you click any of the chart, let's say you click over here, now the pivot chart analyze will come in the ribbon. You have to click here, click on insert slicer. So you have 2 options, insert slicer, insert timeline. So you have to click insert slicer. Let's say you want to add gender as a filter, department as a filter, right? Let's say you want to add state as a filter, region as a filter, and click OK. So now you have these filters with you. So currently I'm not like explaining you how to make it more beautiful. That is up to you, how creative you can be. I'm just focusing on the functionality part. And
So
how we-
this slicer can be done once you are putting all the data in this page, right?
yeah, no, you can add this before also. But for example, I'll show you what is the problem. So for example, if I click on female,
Mhm.
data is not changing. If I click on male, only the data for this chart is changing because I created a slicer on this chart, right? So if I click on Northeast, this data is changing, but this table, this chart, I'm not seeing any change. So
Mhm.
how you can do this? So for that, you have to right click over the slicer, click on report connections, right?
Okay.
So now you will have, this is already tick marked, right? This pivot table, month salary, but I want to add the connection with department as well as the month. So I'll just click here as well, click OK. So now if I change male, female, so you will see the changes in all the 3 charts. So this is how you will understand that this is my dashboard, right? Because now you can see this is interactive. If you change any filter, data is changing. Correct? Same with all other filters. Go to right click, report connections, tick mark all other connections. Same with department, report connections, select all other tables and click OK. So now if I select engine assembly, let's say, so data for engine assembly will be there. You can see this, right? For example, if I select state ME, so I don't know the data is there for ME or not, but the data will change for this particular state. Right now, if you want to remove the filter, you can just click here. This will clear the filter. Okay, it is taking time to clear out. Let me just clear the timing. Right, so this is how you have to use slicer. Slicer is very important. Now if you want to add a timeline also, like timeline, if you want to insert this, okay, so you can't create a timeline for this report because it doesn't have field formatted as date. So why is that? because if we go back to the data set, in this data set, there is no time which is formatted in terms of month, year, and date. But if you change the filter, for example, if you want to change the date of joining, if you change it to date, let's say short date, and then if you try, it will come. Right. So this is how you have to work on preparing the dashboards. So with this, I'm done with the Excel part. If you have any question, you can ask me. Because after this, we will talk about Microsoft Power BI.
So what is the difference between this slicer and timeline?
So timeline, see, this slicer will give you the filters for, let's say, gender, male, female.
Mhm.
Timeline is the slicer. Again, that is a slicer, but that will give me month, like January, February, March, or year. So that is timeline. Again, that is a slicer, but the name is timeline because we are dealing with the time series.
Okay.
But again, that is a filter.
Okay.
Anyone else who is having query apart from Reena? So I believe that everyone understands how to create a dashboard in Excel, at least a basic level dashboard. So I'll just brief you again, like we should have a data set, right? Once we have a data set, we have to clean the data, right? Each and every column, we have to go and check the data type. Data type, by data type mean it can be text, it can be Boolean, it can be date, it can be integer, it can be whole number, it can be anything, right? Then you have to process the data. In that process, you have to create some columns, new columns that can help you in analyzing. As I told you, I created age groupings, right? So through age grouping, I can show you one thing. Yeah. Let's create one more chart because we didn't use age grouping. Right. So if we use age group in rows, right? So I have these four options: 0 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50, and greater than 50. In this grouping, I want to see how my salary is like there, like what is the sum of salary, and I want to sort this on the basis of sum of salary. Right. So highest is for the people whose age is greater than 50. For them, the sum of salary is higher. If I want to see the count of employees in each group, right? So any idea? Can you tell me how to get the count of employees? Any one of you?
We have to
Count
move by
Employee
value.
ID.
Value.
Employee ID.
Or
Perfect.
filter,
Employee ID.
employee ID in filter.
Yeah. And then go
Okay.
to that count, change from sum to count.
Okay, again, I took the data set from the not the first column, so I'm not getting employee ID. But in this case, we can use username also, right? So I'll just add the username because username is also unique. So I can see, so you are absolutely right. Using employee ID, we can get the count. But here we can see the most number of employees are in the age greater than 50, that is 20,165, right? And 40 to 50, it is 12,910. And total employees are 50,000, right? Again, I want to see the count of these usernames in terms of gender, like male and female. Oh, again, I don't have this, but you can add the gender in the column, right? Once you add the gender in the column, then you can bifurcate the username count in terms of male and female, salary also in the terms of male and female. So this is so beautiful to understand, and you can create anything from the pivot charts and pivot tables. Right. So this was the approach. So third step was to process the data, creating different columns. And then finally, data analysis using pivot tables and pivot charts. We created a dashboard. And now this dashboard, which is the final outcome, you can share this with any one of the team member, you can share with management, and they can work on this. And the beauty of it is, once the data is refreshed, you don't have to create these charts again and again. No, All you need to do is once the data is updated, for example, you have data till 50,001 record. So once the data is updated over here, and then you refresh the data in this dashboard, the data will be changed, right? So you don't have to create again and again. You just need to refresh. So this is why we call this as a dashboard, because we don't have to create it again and again. Once this is prepared, you just need to refresh and you will be seeing the updated data.
Okay, the way you said, we can, update the data in master data and we just have to click on refresh, right? So
Correct.
do we need to keep other sheets as well, the individual sheet which you prepared for pivot table?
No, you
Or-
just need to keep them. You can hide them. For example, you just hide. You don't need them.
Okay, and if in case this gets deleted, then?
See, let's do one example. Because obviously, if you are deleting that, the
Mhm.
reference source is gone.
Okay, okay, okay.
Let's
This-
say this is department wise. This one, this chart, right?
Mhm.
Let's say I delete this.
Yeah.
Okay, but this is still there, but I have to check if we refresh, it will be refreshed or not. But the best way is to hide, because you already have so many sheets. Whenever you want to change, because see this chart, if you want to make any changes again, you have to keep that, right? And if I click here, see, you don't find the pivot table here. If I click here, you will see the pivot chart fields. If I click here, I'm not getting any pivot chart field. That means the connection between the pivot chart, pivot table and this has gone,
Okay, got
right?
it.
So
Got
we
it.
don't have to delete.
We
Deleting
have to
will,
just hide it, right?
yeah, you can hide that. If you don't want them to be shown, you just hide. You will get the data from there.
Sure. Thank you.
So, all right, with this, we are at the end of Excel session. I'll go to Power BI.